I think the parents nowadays should not just focus on the children's studies.
How many times people have come up and said that at this age you're running, what about your knees, what about your ankle, you should be sitting at home playing with your grandkids. What do you tell them?
Only you know what you are good at it. Don't let them decide. It is you who have to decide what you want to do, what you want to build up in life.
What staying healthy and fit means to you now?
Health means everything to me. Do whatever you like doing. It can be anything. Just put on a few songs, dance.
I'm not a good singer or anything.
For me, that is very, very important, that I'm not even the slightest bit of burden on my children.
Generally, if you see around, people are pulled down because they don't find companionship.
It's been very difficult for me to get partners to go trekking. I stay alone. My husband passed away about 9 years back.
What's typically your day routine like?
My first priority, make a healthy breakfast for everyone in the morning.
How to build that intrinsic motivation?
I think age brings its own freedom. When you're a certain age, you really don't have to rely too much on what people are thinking and all that.
When my son-in-law came to me and told that, you could think of running long distance. Last year's midnight marathon in Whitefield, it was raining and the roads were flooded. Many people said, no, don't run. And I said, no, wanted to take it as a challenge.
What's the definition of mental health to both of you?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Hi, welcome to The Other Side. I'm your host, Dilip, an entrepreneur and an endurance athlete. In this podcast, we will explore the experiences of high-performing individuals while unpacking their mental and physical fitness routines that took them to where they are.
Hi, welcome back to another new episode of this podcast. So far, you've always watched and listened these conversations I've been having with high-performing individuals who are usually entrepreneurs, athletes, innovators in the health space. Today, I have two special guests, not just one, but two guests. Two young 70-year-old ladies who are reimagining what fitness means, who are also redefining their own personal health and wellness in many ways. I have Miss Chandini Naik and Miss Raji Thomas. Thank you both of you to take time to come and have this conversation with me. I'm very excited to explore a lot of your other side. But yeah, first of all, thank you for coming down.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, I don't think I'm up there to be on a podcast and all that, but thank you anyway.
So thank you, Dilip.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping that this could be start of both of your podcast journey and lots more podcasts come your way. Let's quickly get started. Let's start the young girl in both of you. I would assume that would be the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
And we'll start with you, Chandni, that what was growing up back then?
In the 50s, you
In
say?
50s, 60s, early, with your family, which has shaped to who you are today, right? And I'm just to kind of, break it down. A human usually have 3 to 4 phases of life, right? So one is the early childhood with the parents. Second is the early adulthood when you go out for work, marriage, kids, and then post. So maybe 4 to 5. So specifically about the first phase, what was it which you think shaped you to who you are today?
I think it is your entire life that shapes you. It's not just one phase or anything. At least for me, every phase has been so enjoyable that I take it as a learning lesson. And I also have enjoyed every single phase of my life. Childhood was great because I had 5 other siblings and 4 of them were boys. So it was a very active childhood. And my father also was very interested in sport. So being active was part of my childhood. And probably back then every child played, Now you think of it as childhood and no play, but then every child played. And somehow I was always happy when I was moving or doing something and all that. But of course, when you marry and then you move to another place, especially a place like Bombay, you can't really have that playing phase. But the moving phase is there because Bombay being what it is, you have to move. If you have to be at least functional in some meaningful way, you have to be able to move freely. And so that activity level probably has never fallen down. Also for me, a large part of my character is my thinking. So, I always wanted to stay on top of things, not in a competitive way, for my own satisfaction. So health was a big part. And to be very truthful, I'm blessed with fantastic genes.
Genes, okay.
I don't have any kind of health issues. It comes from both sides of my family. But of course, you can't just rest on those laurels because right now my siblings are suffering. They have the same genes. So some of them are suffering, some of them are okay. But I think of the lot of us, I'm the fittest. So I've worked at being fit all along, but not in a conscious way.
Okay.
Yeah, and then work, of course, took me out, and I have had a fantastic partner in life who encouraged me in everything that I did. Two children came along, you don't know how those years passed. And then I think a real breathing space happened after I decided to quit my job. So that's when you started thinking of yourself in prolonged periods of time to yourself.
Okay.
Until then, it never happened. You are always a good daughter, a good brother, a good sister, a good mother, a good employee, or whatever you wanted to be. And then trying to love yourself and be yourself, that happened only after I quit my job. And luckily, I took VRS, at the age of 47, I think. So, and then for 5 years, I did nothing. And then my son literally used the words, "Don't sit on your ass. You're capable of doing better things." Then I said, "Okay, find me a job." And he used those words when he had already seen something in the paper for me. Then he said, "Go back to Wednesday's paper. There's something in it for you. I'm not going to search it out for you. Do it yourself." So then I worked again for maybe 10 years. But then I gave it up for good in 2015, early 2015.
Okay.
So the last 8 years, free.
Right. That's a great intro. No, before I get to Raji for her conversation, I realized I wanted to do a introduction about you, but perhaps the best introduction has to come from both of you. So how about I ask you to give an intro about yourself. Imagine you're in your grandkids' school. Both of you have grandkids. You are invited in their school.
Yeah.
There are kids all over.
Yeah.
And you've been asked to give an introduction about yourself to the kid. How would you go about?
Frankly, if you want to say personally, I don't think I'll have to introduce myself at all.
Okay.
Because you know why? The video that you were talking about with Shwetambari Shetty, it reached my children.
Okay.
And that little fellow has gone and shown it to the whole school.
Okay. So this is for the benefit of people who are listening and watching, who, let assume, might not have gone through your video.
Okay.
For them to know Chandini Nayak.
Yeah.
What's the introduction you would want to give?
I'll say I'm a very ordinary person whose mantra is to enjoy life, not enjoy life to the exclusion of my duties.
Okay.
Because if you think of one underlying thing that runs through my life, it is karma. Like, I am a worker. I'm a karma yogi now, but in the earlier years, I used to work. And that concept of not looking for the results of work has come now.
Yeah.
So that is purely out of age. It can't come at a very early age. It may for some people.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that I like to do whatever I do to the best of my abilities. That would probably be my
Excellent.
best introduction. And blood is very, very thick. It is coagulating. So family comes topmost.
Okay.
And very few friends, but now I've started making friends. And the friends I make, I keep.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So
that's
karma yogi, and probably how I said, reinventing herself. Raji, over to you. Intro about yourself.
I'm a runner at heart,
Okay.
right from my childhood. So I was born and brought up in Kerala. So we have a nice town where we all could run. My whole childhood, I used to run with my cousins, my siblings, and everyone. So that was always in my heart.
Which part of Kerala?
I'm from Kottayam, Changanasheri.
Okay.
And so even in my, childhood also, it was always there. But I never thought that, I could pursue running as a career. And so it took a backseat, and then life took over, and then concentrated on my studies and finished my graduation, went to Delhi for some time, got married, and came to Bangalore. And for the last 45 years, I'm here in Bangalore. And so occasionally, or time to time, during some friendly meetings, and then some association conducts some events and all that, I used to run. So it's just for fun. And sometimes, you come victorious, that is immaterial. But then I wanted to participate because most of the people are hesitant to join.
Yeah.
So when we come and tell them that, run. So people of my age, they hesitant. I said, come along, run with me. So that is how I used to do it. But then my, my whole running journey started when my son-in-law came to me and told that, you could think of running long distance.
Okay, so I'll take a pause. I want you to come back on the start on how both of you reinvented, but I want to set the context here that one is a forgotten runner who is reinventing and reimagining herself, and one is a karma yogi who is trying to find new experiences and new horizons in life. Given both these contexts, I also want to set the context to people who are listening and watching. So I'm talking to Chandini and Raji because in the world where we live today, health and staying healthy and staying fit perhaps doesn't come as a priority or a preference for most people, right? And all of us have a reason to why we became healthy. So there's always a transformation story. So I had my own transformation story. The day, I was unhealthy for the longest time, and then there was a eureka moment where I decided, I should take control of my life. And I've started realizing that, why should everyone have that moment when they have to genuinely get into the trenches of bad health and then come out of it. Yeah? Why can't it be an existing parallel trait of your life, right? So I've spoken to a lot of people from different phases of life, and these are people who are mostly, let us say, young. Not that you are not, but they are relatively young. And when I heard about stories of both of you, I got super excited because for me it was an outlier, right? Someone in their 70s trying to do stuff which perhaps most people even in their 30s and 40s may not dare or may not even think to do that. So there is some mental models what each of you have got. The idea is to explore that, and this conversation is all about putting that mental model out so that people listening and watching, if it can help them to right now to go and explore their other side, they could. So that's the context. I'll now double click from where you guys have set. Chandni mentioned her life from going to Bombay to back to Bangalore, marriage, having a family which perhaps was into sports and health. You were mentioning about you were always into running.
Yes.
And then life happened.
Yes.
And now you started exploring running, the joy of running back at this age.
Yes.
A quick question to both of you. I'll start with you, Raji. What do people mostly misunderstand about you?
No, they think that, I'm not 72.
Okay.
That's a good misunderstanding.
Okay, that was the simplest and the most honest thing which could come out. How about you?
I think I'm not very forthcoming in my first and second meetings and all that, So probably the word pride is associated with me very often when it's not pride. It's actually shyness because I don't interact so much with too many people. So it's not easy to come out talking to people, That misunderstanding is there, but it doesn't affect me. That is the good part about it. I don't care. So, frankly, I don't care. So I am what I am.
Fair.
That's how I feel
That's
about
fair.
it.
Oh, sorry, honestly, I'm an outdoor person.
Okay.
I always, get into any social activity, any forum where I could interact with more and more people and help each other. And then, because we live in a society where we need each other. So I have no such barriers. I go across to people and help them and take their help also in case needed. That's how.
Is that trait has always been with you all through your growing up years, or is something which you picked up, at this phase of life?
No, that was always there because in my school also, I was always the prefect and then, the class leader and all that. So we, they expect us to do many things and then we also take work from them. So that was there, my schooling, all that was there. That basic foundation was there.
So at this stage where both of you are, I want you to define what staying healthy and fit means to you now. What's that relationship for you right now? Start with you.
Oh, health means everything to me because I stay alone. My husband passed away about 9 years back. I've been alone, and just to tell you a small story, like after he passed away, I made a list of things to do, and right on top of the list was my son's name. It's not a thing to do, but his name was up there. And then he was going through my phone. I said, look at these things I have to do. He said, what's my name doing on your list? I said, this is to tell you that for my sake, you don't have to change your plans. If you want to go out of the country, out of Bangalore, whatever, do it. So for me, that is very, very important, that I'm not even the slightest bit of burden on my children or anybody else for that matter. And for that, you need to be healthy. Now, it's only when you're not healthy that you will want somebody to come and help you out and all that. Because my thinking I can do, but physically, if I'm incapacitated or something, I need help. So for me, health is very important.
I mean, what does it mean to you?
Health means that's the topmost thing in life, and then that's always in your mind also. Like you feel you are good, and you run with it, because when you are in sports, you tend to get injuries. Sports injuries are there, so that you overcome, and then move on with your life. And then, of course, after taking up, running it little seriously now, I'm little careful about my diet also. So that is one thing is there. So health is the main thing because unless you have a good health and a sound mind and sound body, you won't be able to concentrate or, run.
Right.
Yeah, that is, like when you run, you get lots of happiness and all that. That joy comes because if you're not healthy, that you will know each and every part of your body when you run.
Yeah.
Like how you can move, which part is weak, which is gives you more strength to push and all that. So health is the most important thing.
Right.
So I just wanted to come back to one
yeah.
question. You were asking Chandini about the schooling, about the
early days,
grandchildren. So it just happened last year, and the grandparents were called to my both grandchildren are studying in the same school. So we were called, and then they said the grandparents can perform and then do anything like singing or do anything and all that. So I'm not a good singer or anything, but then I said, so when my children were born, I thought one of them will take up sports, but then it didn't happen. So I think that my grandchildren will take up sports, but I told them then let them do whatever they want and let them be happy wherever they are. That's the thing. So for my grandchildren, my my message is that stay healthy and focus in whatever you do. And of course, as a grandma, that sports is my first priority.
Yeah, so for the kids, for their grandkids who might be watching or listening, they still have a pressure to keep up with because the grandma still wants them to go back and do
No, I said no pressure. Let them be happy, whatever they do and wherever they are.
Perfect.
They should be happy. They should be good children.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's a good way to set up because, I've been an 80s kid. I was born in the 80s, and during those years, the 80s, 90s, in a middle class family, staying healthy, staying fit, playing sports is not really the thing, right? It's mostly about get your academics, and most of sports is an extracurricular activity, so which means it's extra, it's not primary, right? And you're always incentivized that if you finish your homework or you finish your work, you can get your 20 minutes of work, right? How was it for you both? And I'm talking about 50s and 60s, right? How integral was staying healthy or just being outdoor back then? Was it any different from what you see now?
In 60s, of course, I was there in Kerala, and their lifestyle was totally different. The food we eat was healthy, like most of them are homegrown and all that. And of course, as I said, that I was always into sports, taking part in many things. And then that was a good, pace of life that time. And now, you see, we are living in a city, the lifestyle has changed, the things were there, and as you said it, as I said before, when you are in work pressure and then you run for it, you don't care much about your diet and all other things. So it was the time, that pressure was always there, and especially in the field where you work in, you have a target to finish it and all that. So that was, you are running behind targets, and then you were ignoring your the core part of your diet and health and all that. But luckily, because we have good genes and then good health, we were able to cope up. So but now, since there is lot of awareness about health, food, diet, everything, exercises and all that, so we follow certain rules.
Right.
Yes.
How was it for you?
I think there's a very big shift in the way you look at health, from when we were growing up and when now. Because I don't think I did anything for health as a child. I just enjoyed playing, I played. And the result was that I stayed healthy. Right now, if I want to tell my children or my grandchildren to play, there always that corollary is that it'll keep you healthy, so play. So it was not there when that pressure to play, to be healthy or anything was not there. You played, consequently you stayed healthy. Now, anyone, your age group, my children's age group, if they are doing something, they are doing it with the conscious intention of staying healthy. So that shift is there. So whether it makes it as enjoyable or not, I don't know. So we really enjoyed being healthy.
Yeah.
Whether you all are enjoying it, I don't know.
Yeah. No, so two takeaway for me. One, like you said, it was not with the intent that you want to lose weight or you want to have a certain BMI. Yeah. It's part of your life and you are doing it, and staying healthy was an outcome.
Yeah.
And one takeaway which I had from you was that you were doing it, or most people were doing it early part of your life, but then life happens and then you're chasing and pursuing other things. A common shift which I've seen in the past 15 to 20 years in my professional career is that I've always found it very hard to make people aware why it should be an important part of their life, why staying healthy should be important, because people are trying to get food to their plate, right? Which means they need to be out there 12, 14 hours, work, whether you're a blue collar person or a white collar person, but you have to work hard, and definitely staying healthy or exercising or walking or running doesn't come naturally, because the moment you wake up, all you're thinking is your calls, your meetings, your deadlines, and that carries you till you hit your bed. And eating anything just to make yourself feel full is what on your head. It's not about whether you're eating the right diet or whether it's protein or carbs. It doesn't come to you, right? And you have seen multiple shifts in life, right? At this stage of life, you have crossed over, fairly successfully all this. What do you think? And I'm sure it hasn't come easy to both of you either, right? So, what do you think? There are few frameworks people can do today, if not to give health an absolute priority, and that is not the expectation that you spend 5 hours in the gym every day or you keep running every day, but what can they do, basics, one or two pieces which can have a fair balance in terms of keeping your mental and physical fitness, and perhaps also pursue the other pursuits and goals what you have in your life. So what few things, basis on your experience, because I'm assuming it doesn't come easy.
See, for both of us, for me and for my husband, the children's studies was very important, because we come from a family where education is important. But we also did not neglect sports at all. Like, we were members of Indiranagar Club, so they were allowed to coach in anything that they wanted. So consequently, what has happened is, from a young age, they knew that playing or doing something has been helpful to them. I think the parents nowadays should not just focus on the children's studies. And what happens now again is, if you are putting your child for tennis or badminton or something, every parent wants him to be a Sania Mirza or something. It's not that. So for me, I sent my children for everything just so that they enjoy the time that they have away from studies. Because as a parent and their studies, I was pretty strict. I wanted them to do well, but they need an outlet. So I let them play. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, my two children are very different. My son works only with his brain. He doesn't know how to move a finger. It's only his head that works. Whereas my daughter is a very balanced, she does both things. So you can't outright say, do this, it will help you, or do that, it will help you. You can't. You have to play with the cards that are dealt to you. And mostly, like also you said, you have a breakdown and then you think of health. Why wait for that? So why wait for that? Because it's very well documented, the benefits of good health, benefits of exercising, and everybody is intelligent enough to go to the net and see that this does this does this. So just try to motivate yourself to do some basic thing. And my take advice to anybody would be, do what you enjoy doing. So somebody is running, you don't have to run. Somebody is swimming, you don't have to swim. Do whatever you like doing. It can be anything. Just put on a few songs, dance, do anything. But basic, a little bit of movement, please do.
Yeah.
That's what.
What would you want to say that how to build that intrinsic motivation? I mean, most of the time we are looking for external motivation, like seeing someone. I mean, that only has its own lifetime. But how do you think people can build that intrinsic motivation?
That only comes from the discipline in life. Every sports person is a disciplined person. I believe in it. See, whatever time, as you said it, because of your work pressure, you will be staying back late and, you'll be not following any proper diet and all that. So what is that one thing that you can do it? So I believe I'm of course a early person, like my day starts by 4:35 and all that. I get up, whatever time you sleep, that is immaterial for me. So the day starts early and then devote at least 30 to 60 minutes of your time for yourself. Whether it can be walking, it can be jogging, it can be running, or you do anything, whatever you want it to keep you physically fit. So that builds up your body. And believe me, if you do that, if you follow that whole day you will be energized. You don't need extra, diet or extra, thing to electrolyte or any fast enough to keep you, your body moving. Because that particular process of that devoting 1 hour of your time, for yourself, and you will find happiness in it.
So, how many times people have come up and said that at this age you're running, what about your knees, what about your ankle, you should be sitting at home playing with your grandkids early in the morning. What do you tell them?
I tell them, yes, I spend time with them, but running gives me lots of joy, and especially when I go for, races and competitions and all that, I celebrate my run. When I cross the finish line, I celebrate it because that gives me more joy. And then people, this is a frequent question, which even my own colleagues who are in that Essex group also, they also ask, do you have knee pain? I say, no. If there is something, you ignore it, unless it is severe, I don't have such things. As I said it, when you run, you know how your body is. And you are not proving a point by, going for a, higher, PB or anything. For your, running for yourself, for the joy of running. So that gives you, and especially when you, of course, when you win it, you feel it, you celebrate it. That's a different story. Yeah. But every day, people say, I said, no, I'm okay with it. I know my body. I know how fast I can go, how slow, where I have to stop it, where I have to control it. I know, because I am the person who knows, my body more than anybody else. Yeah. And when you go to somebody also, you have to say, yeah, this is a thing. But then you know yourself, how your body reacts to different situations and different conditions. Yeah. So, and to be very honest with you, it's one of the biggest challenge in this running race was last year's midnight marathon in Whitefield. It was raining and the roads were flooded. But I thought, many people said, no, don't run. And I said, no, I wanted to see. I wanted to take it as a challenge. whether I could do it. And once I finished it, I thought, let me just celebrate it.
Those are the endorphins which comes your way when you finish
Yes,
the
yes.
event. Yeah.
So that is, that gives you a lot of, that I can do it.
Yeah.
That gives you that feeling that there is something which people challenge it, people say not possible, but then your mind says, try, go for it, you can do it.
No, it's
So
very-
it's always in your mind.
Yeah, no, it's very encouraging, at least to me, to see that both of you have accomplished so much, and at this phase of your life, you still have that rigor and that mojo that you want to challenge yourself. And not that because we are having this conversation around health, but I want to believe that it's largely because it has helped you anchor that thought process. All different activities you've been doing to stay yourself healthy, that spirit and that approach, that how you could constantly explore that unknown inside you and challenge it. But both of you have also have had a typical experience what everyone has, and there has been an inflection point when you decided what you are doing now. Individually you have had. So I want to double click on that particular inflection point, right? In your case, that passing of your husband. So you want to talk about what was that point and how that made you come back to what you do now?
Yeah, because my life was more or less very healthy. But when he passed away suddenly, there was no inkling that he would go. He just passed away one day, and I was 61 or something. So he was 64, I was 61. And that hit me very hard. So I neglected myself. Not that I did anything else, just didn't take care of my health. And one fine day I realized this is not doing me any good, I have to snap out of it. So that decision taken on that day has stood me in good stead all these years now. I refused to be cowed down by whatever life threw at me. I said, I'm going to make this a challenge. I'm going to let this episode make me stronger. And frankly, I think both mentally, physically, emotionally, everything, I'm stronger because I have to do everything alone. Or you always shared the burden with somebody else, but now you have to do everything alone. So that it does make you stronger. There are two ways of looking at the same thing, Like you can say, oh, it's all over. And you can also say, oh, now everything starts now. I have to do everything by myself. So for me, it was that optimism. I think optimism is the characteristic of my personality. It is actually dangerously optimistic, I would say, but that has carried me through.
Yeah, so I like the way you said the dangerous optimism. Sometimes I think in a life, one way is the dangerous optimism. For some people, it could be obsession, right? I mean, to get what you want. In your case, Raji, you got back to your obsession of running again late in life. So talk about that inflection point. How do you rekindle your joy of running?
So as I said before, when I was around 69, in 2019, my son-in-law comes and tells me, you start, taking up long distance running. So I couldn't believe it because I was always into sprint. I never thought that I could make a long running. So he took me for the TCS run in 2019, and I saw him finish the line and went into the stadium. I saw the crowd and the vibes and everything. I said, yes, I got addicted to it. I said, yes, I want to run. So he said, no, don't go for a 10K. First, as a trial basis, go for a 5K. So immediately there was a run for Sriram Properties at 5K. That was my first run. So immediately after that, he came and asked me, how are you feeling? I said, I'm feeling good. So now you can go for 10K. So my journey started from there, then onwards. So he was the one who encouraged me, who was the one who told me that you can do it. So otherwise, it was never in my mind that I can take a long distance running. But then, of course, the way you sprint and the way you take long run is different. But then as you said it, where you can limit yourself, where you can go fast, all that, the elevation, all that, you read it, you understand it like that. So one more thing I should say that, for me, there was no setback by God's grace, and I have a very supportive family. My children, my husband, my son-in-law, my daughter-in-law, all of them are very, very encouraging. More than me, my grandchildren. So whenever I go for a run and come back, he'll ask me, show me your medal, show me your trophy, show me your, that is how they come and ask me. Before anybody, they wanted to see, that's how it is. So I'm thankful to God for all what I'm blessed with.
No, for sure. I mean, like I said, having a supportive family itself is and work what you have to do all your growing up years to have that. I mean, we can't take that for granted. I mean, it's an investment one has to do to have that bonding around, right? But both of you, what you do right now is an outlier in some sense, and considering the age factor, right? And generally, if you see around, people are pulled down because they don't find companionship. So in your case, I'm assuming that you're probably a rare person in the area, or perhaps in the city of your age category. There would be very few people, but there would be not as much as what would be in the 40s and 30s and 50s age category. And in your case, also a lot of activities what you do, you might be an outlier, right? And people get bogged down because they don't get companionship, because we live in a society where it's very hard to build that internal narrative to say that regardless of where it is, I am getting it down, right? Yeah. What are your mental models? What has worked for you in your favor, which has allowed you to continue pursue what you are doing right now, regardless of these frictions?
I think age brings its own freedom. So when you're a certain age, you really don't have to rely too much on what people are thinking and all that. It's been very difficult for me to get partners to go trekking. I don't know whether you're aware, I just came back from a trek.
Oh,
yeah.
Where was that?
I went to Sandakpur, that highest peak in West Bengal, and it was awesome. But it was so difficult to get somebody to go with me. I have a lot of young friends, but either the husband should permit them to come or something. And my daughter is not in India, she is abroad. And my son is perpetually busy. So then I said, okay, I'm going alone. And then luckily a younger male friend, he said, Chandini, even I'm thinking of going, why don't we go together? Customize it and go. We were traveling with each other for the first time. I don't know how much I rubbed the wrong side of him or got in his way, but nicely he said, no, you were a good companion.
Did you go back with the trek again with him?
This was the first trek I went with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm sure we'll go back together. Maybe as we grow older, it may be a road trip where his wife joins, or things like that. But we'll definitely go with each other because we didn't get in each other's way at all. So it's just a matter of taking that step and doing it. So you let people pull you down, you will be pulled down. Yeah. You say, okay, I don't care, I have to do it. If I wait for somebody, one of my friends, she actually said, Chandini, in the year 2023, I'm going on a trek with you, I'll give you a promissory note. And 10 times I followed up, where is the promissory note, where is the promissory note? Promissory note didn't come because in her heart of heart, she knew her children, her husband and all that. So I said, I'm not waiting for any promissory notes, I'm going. If it's a loan, it's a loan. Customize it, take a person and go. So now I've come to that stage where if I want to do something, I'll just do it. And of course, my son comes with all his things. You're going to the mountains, don't jump off a mountain, because he knows how excited I am about certain things and all that. He'll say, hold yourself in check, take care of yourself, all that he says. Of course, he doesn't have to advise me not to jump off a cliff. I love my life. But I just do things. I don't let anything hold me back.
Fairly endurance intensive, right? I mean, you have to clock a certain mileage. You have to do different types of runs. I'm a runner, and I've always struggled to find a good training partner. Also because of the area where I live, and second, paces are different, all of that. In your case, there are a whole lot of factors. So how did you continue to pursue your pursuit? Because I'm assuming you probably might be running with people who are half your age or even young.
That's what I wanted to tell you. That the happiest thing that happened for me was discovering A6 group. So, we meet twice a week on Tuesdays, and then we do a bit of warm up exercises and strength training and all that. So there, there I found people who are half my age, and they become my they are very encouraging, very supportive, and and because of them, I must say that I could reach to new destinations.
Oh.
That, yeah, because they are always there to help me. And then but then, like the coach Deepa and Kavita, they are also very encouraging. So this is some group, and they became my inner circle. I have a larger group now, and then we run at least, means we twice a week we meet together, and one day at least in the group we say, okay, let's run, go for a 5K or a 10K or 8K, whatever it is. So I run at my pace. Some people or the other, we join together, and that is a thing which keeps me moving.
Yeah, so it's very different, contrasting perspective. What I'm liking is that regardless of whether you have a companionship or you have a companionship, it is the mental model which you have established. You said you want to do what you're set out to do. So you're set out to get a trek, you will do regardless whether you are a companion or not. You are set out to do a 5K or 10K, you will do whether you get the company or not. So in your case, you most often not get a group. In your case, perhaps you don't, but you still venture out. Interesting point for me to kind of double click. And what typically your day routine like? I mean, how does a typical day right now, and I'm assuming you're post retirement, enjoying your treks and runs. For you, Chandni, how's typically a day routine look like?
I think the waking up time hasn't changed, irrespective of the fact that I really have the whole day to myself. I still am an early riser. I feel that is the time when you see some things which you don't see during the rest of the day, that sunrise or that absolute peace and all that. And it also gives me some time to just linger in bed and then get up and do some meditation and all that. And then I go for a walk I have a group of walkers, and they're all in their 30s and 40s. My friend circle is mostly young. I'm sure I'll become good friends with Raji, who's my age group.
Yeah.
But otherwise, my friend circle is very young. So I go for a walk with them, and sometimes I do some exercise later on, and then I read a lot.
Okay.
And then because I'm alone, the cooking has taken a back seat, which I'm constantly, people complain about that, you're not eating well, but I am eating well. Maybe I'm eating the same thing or just fruits and vegetables and things, but I hardly cook. I cook once in a way. That motivation, if somebody can give me tell me how to do it, to cook just for yourself, I'll take that with open arms, but it hasn't come my way so far. And then again in the evening, I go down just to sit and watch people do their own thing and all that. And then I keep trying new things. Like I started playing tennis. I played golf for a while. I swim. So I have a lot of physical stuff going on. And then books. My one wall in my house is covered with books. So I do a lot of reading.
Yeah, that's a packed day. How about you? How does your day look like?
My day starts early, as I said it. I rise very early at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm ready to be out from the house at 5, because I'll find somebody or the other in the road. Like I go for a walk or a run, like that it starts. And on Wednesdays, I go to the park. There, like as she said it, middle-aged or 50 to 70 age men are there. They do their yoga. I join them. So they I join them, and then we chit chat with them, and then we do that. Only that is once in a week. And other days, Tuesdays and Saturdays are packed with A6, come back home. And Sundays, of course, that's a day for me, myself. I don't go out or do anything. And then my regular day, soon after coming back home, I concentrate a little bit for making breakfast, for my family, for, all of them. That is my first priority, make a healthy breakfast for everyone in the morning. So we all have breakfast together, and then, read a little bit of newspaper and all that. And then, we get into our routine of doing things like, I get into the garden work or, other some social activities like, we have something or the other every day meant for the citizens forum and all that. There will be some complaints, all that, so coordinate with all these people. And then, so after that, the lunch, of course, I get a help by the one cook comes for the lunch and dinner, but then guide her a little bit, have lunch, and then again get on to the social work activities, plan for the next day, what can be done and all that. So then evening, and then, we watch, like rarely I watch TV for a half an hour to 1 hour, the news hour, and that's it. But if there is any sports activities happening, whether it is a US Open or in like Australia Open or Wimbledon and all that, I will be clinging to the TV, like irrespective of the time. I can wake up in the night also and early morning also I can watch. Even that it happens with soccer and ISL also, anything, even cricket, anything, any sports thing is there, I'm in front of the TV. So that, and especially when Olympics, Asian Games, anything is there, anything connected with sports, I always wanted to. If you see it, when I take the newspaper, first I turn to the last page of the paper, just to see what happened, like how it is narrated. And there are certain captions which they mention it, and that's so inspiring. And then, it is very capturing, like a thing which is very attractive also. So that is one thing which happens to me. And then I sleep by 9:30, 10.
Okay. Yeah. One thing which strikes me that I don't know how many people will probably get envied by listening to both of you, because the kind of post-retirement life what you seem to be living, because people who have retired, they might be thinking that post-retirement is relaxing, but what you guys seem to be saying doesn't look like relaxing at all, because it's pretty packed. And people who want to get retired, they have a rosy picture that you're lazing around and doing nothing. But again, this is not an ideal definition to it. But it's very exciting to see how you have that kind of an energy levels to do that. And that's something which I want to double click, that mental health, right? What does mental health mean to both of you right now? Because for doing what you're doing right now, that requires a certain engineering in terms of how you're mentally designed, and overall, this entire past 70 years of life experience what you've got. What's the definition of mental health to both of you?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because after my retirement, and not retirement, after I stopped working 10 years back, I did a course in counseling from Banjara Academy. And I'm right now a counselor also. I don't do it for a fee or anything, and neither do I advertise myself, but through word of mouth, quite a lot of people know that I'm a counselor, and they've come to me, and it has helped them also. So I have that great satisfaction that I am able to help somebody. And for that, you need to be mentally healthy. And for me, the best thing for mental health would be meditation. So there's nothing like meditation to keep you mentally healthy. Also, I do all this Sudoku or the word game and things like that. It's supposed to keep your mind healthy, but of course, it's not again because it will keep my mind healthy. I enjoy doing it. And I read and I think. So probably I use my brain a lot. So that way, I'm mentally healthy. When you put your brain on the back burner, then probably that's when your mental health problems keep coming up. So you have to keep thinking. I mean, not everyone is capable of thinking to the extent that somebody else is. Not everyone is a born thinker. Some people are more working with their hands. But irrespective of that, I think some amount of mental activity you should have. And that can come even from conversation with another person. Now, if you are going to be a recluse and not talk to people just because you have reached the age of 70, then you'll end up having some kind of mental problem. Just because you're facing a problem, you have grief, and you lock yourself inside, that grief can get bigger and bigger. The problem is probably not as big as you're making it out in your head. So talk to somebody. So the best thing is, if you feel uncomfortable in your head, you should talk. See, the stigma from mental health is diminishing. And many people realize that now, but still they're a little reluctant to go. So that's why I don't advertise myself as a counselor. So people come to me, I talk to them, they get well. They remember me as a friend, they'll come back to me again, they'll refer somebody else. So it's helping me keep my sanity, keep myself mentally healthy. And in the process, I'm helping a couple of people here and there, wherever I can.
What's your mental health definition? What's your toolkit?
I always find happiness in small things. I'm a very contented person with whatever I have. And I, like when I do a little bit of gardening, and when a flower blossoms also, you feel happy to see it. So that always gives you the joy. And that's what I always wanted to see, find happiness in everything. So for me, that's what I always believe, that in your mind, you say, you can do this. There is no block. I keep it open, and then I play with my grandchildren. Of course, I had a small football injury also.
Wow, okay.
So I play with them. I play with all age groups. It's not that, I play with to this, my neighborhood children also come and they play with me. And then with that A6 group, it starts from 20 to 45 to 50 age group. I run with them also, and I do exercises with them, and then strengthening and all that. So for me, age is not a barrier, and then I can mix and mingle with everyone, and then I also I have a lot of friends in my friend circle, and they also share their feelings and tell, although I'm not a trained counselor, but something comes to me instinctively to explain to them how they can go through that difficult situations. There are many, like they call me, but I find time to call them back or talk to them and all that. So there is nothing that I have I'm not a professionally trained person to do it.
Doesn't make a difference.
But then, it comes naturally to me what I can advise them. And they come back to me, yes, it works.
Yeah.
So that, and for me, you need a sound mind, and the body, sound body comes in.
Yeah.
So
my takeaway is that manifestation, that you have to constantly keep manifesting this idea that you are trying to do something which is for yourself. Internalize that idea that you want to stay happy. You surround yourself with people, have positive conversation. Toolkit could be meditation. It could be surrounding yourself with books, whatever gives you the joy. Like you said, joy could come from simple things like gardening, playing with your kids, grandkids. If you don't have any of them, just get out on the street. You will find enough kids out there to play. And perhaps have open conversations, right? Seek out help and give help to people without string attached. And it just allows you to stay in a very healthy state of mind, and you can evolve essentially from there. So for both of you to have this realization, physical health and mental health, the importance what you have right now, gone through the entire life, I'm sure often people would walk up to you and ask for advices, right? So someone in their 30s or let's say 40s, and I'm not excluding the 20s intentionally because quite naturally that's not on top of their radar right now. They are chasing other things, right? But 30s is where it starts hitting people and hit hard. It has hit me also hard when I'm in my 30s. So for someone in their 30s and 40s, what's this one single advice would you would want to give them to perhaps now in your 70s, when you think and realize if someone could have given you that advice, probably things could have been a little better? Start with you, Chandini.
Maybe I didn't need the advice because like I said, I always think and then arrive at some kind of thing. But I've noticed that people look for problems, when my son grows up and goes out of the house, like a child of 3-year-old, a mother of a 3-year-old kid, she's already anticipating how life will be empty for her when the child goes away. So, I mean, that is so common nowadays. You really don't have a problem, but you're thinking of the problems that may be round
You're
the
seeking
corner.
out problems.
Yeah, that may be round the corner. So just 4 days back, I met up with a group of 4 people. We were all cult buddies. I don't go to cult now. So we met up, and she actually got tears thinking of when her child will be 18 and going out. I said, the first thing you should do is stop looking for a problem. It may never come. I mean, even when my children have both gone away, they're not staying with me, but I'm so connected to them. So the problem may not come at all. So why anticipate a problem? So that is one thing. You start with a positive frame that problem is not going to hit me. I'm going to be connected to my children either physically under the same roof, or we keep talking. My daughter calls me every day. So I don't feel that I'm away from her. So it may not happen. So that's
Essentially
why-
live in the moment.
just live in the moment. Why think of that? There are so many other things that need your more immediate attention. Why go there?
Including myself, I have to admit, a large part of my adult life had been consumed by thinking about a lot of our future.
Yeah.
And now I still do, but because I'm also a victim of the societal engineering, but I'm trying to get to that where it's living in the moment. What's your advice?
For 30s and 40s and all that, see, they will be in the prime time of their life. So, what their focus should be to, first to see their career, they have to prioritize what they wanted to do. That they have to decide it by themselves. One cannot say that, you do this, you do that. They have to find what they can build up in their life. So my advice will be list out, think, decide, and prioritize what is that you want to do it. That's the main thing. It can be anything, I'm not saying that it should be this field, that field, and all that. What they are good at it. So when you are focusing on what you are good at it, and the best comes out of you, and you will excel in it. Yeah. It can be any field, it can be science or computer science, whatever it is, science, technology, anything, any IT field, anything, whatever it is. So my advice is, only you know what you are good at it. Your parents will say, yeah, do this, there is more a scope for that. You can do this, there will be more job opportunities here, and you do this. It's not, don't let them decide. It is you who have to decide what you want to do, what you want to build up in life. That's the most important thing. So, even sports also, if you wanted to, there are multiple things which you may be good at. But like ABD, he may be good in many things, but then he chose one. So like that, you have to decide what you are good at it, where you can excel. So that will give you, in the long run, that will give them more happiness, and they can settle down happily.
For the most part of my life, I've realized that it's very important to know what you want to do in life. And now, in the recent times, I realize it's important to know what you don't want to do in life. It's a round of elimination. So if you know what you don't want to do in life, you're eliminating things, and you'll eventually end up doing what you want to do in life. Someone asked me even at this age, I really don't know what I want to do in my life. It's this ultimate existential question which all of us are trying to chase for. But there are few things in my list which I know I definitely don't want to do. So at least the confusion is half less, and I can just allow in the filter bar. But that reminds me to ask you, Chandini. I mean, you're not bound to do one particular activity, right? I mean, I've understood that you do trekking, you do strength, you do yoga, you do dancing.
Yeah.
What's your mental model, and how do you decide what you want to do? Is it you sit down and you write down a bucket list that these are what you want to do, or you keep exploring as what comes? How does it work?
I don't think I was a planner as such. Nothing. I do everything instinctively. Even parenting was instinctive, and I think that's the best way to be, because that's where you give the most love to your children and all that. You go by a book, probably you're not at your best. Okay, you'll study scientifically, you may be good, but emotionally, mentally, you may not be at your best. So I've always done everything instinctively, and I enjoy doing things, different things. There is nothing that I haven't tried. I've done bungee jumping. I've done, what is that? You jump off a plane?
Skydiving.
Skydiving,
Yeah.
right. And I've done whitewater rafting. I've played golf. Like, it gives me pleasure just trying new things. And I don't know, it's a wealth of experience trying everything. I don't want to be a master of anything. I want to be a jack of everything. And I like the process of being a jack of everything. I'm not in competition with anybody for anything. I'm just happy. Yeah.
You know, Raji, in your case, how much have you seen that your grandkids now, they must be seeing you. You know, the grandmom is getting out in the morning, you know, coming back full of sweat, removing her shoes. You probably might be doing foam rolling and yoga and stretching. So in their mind, I don't know, between their friend circle, how many of such grandmas are going out and getting their runs and coming down. How much have you seen you doing what you do is building a, you know, a narrative amongst the kids that that health and fitness is important. Have you seen any shift? And I'm sure in your social circle there would be others who perhaps might not be doing as what you are doing. So is there any difference in kids looking up to you and perhaps they started to do something what you're doing? Is it coming naturally to them?
Yeah, both my kids are interested in sports. That is the moment they come back from school, you know, they call me, you know, to play with them. So they throw the bag and they know that, you know, when they approach me, I will never say no to them. I'm there to bowl or bat or whatever they do it, even for football and or anything. So, you know, they keep watching me and they, you know, for this Bangalore Runners Jatre, you know, the most, you know, happiest moment in my life was when I saw both my grandsons running, you know, coming to me. I was the ambassador for them, for the Jatre. And so I was there to receive them. And so they see me running and they also want to run with me. You know, so that of course, you know, motivates them and, you know, they are very, very happy. They both are there. Like, and then, you know, like I can see the change in them also. Like, you know, they look forward to, you know, they don't look at me as their grandmother when we play together. You know, like I am one of their, you know, like friend. You know, like, so, you know, like when the ball goes out of the compound also, say, go run and get it. So that is the way that they, you know, exchange with me, you know, like, so there is no barrier for them. And when I play, I'm their friend. So, and they look upon me, and the moment I get a medal or something, they both will be hanging it on them and then walking around, you know. That.
So is there a competition in the family that who gets more medal? Is it the grandma or the grandkids? Each one has their own ball of putting medals?
No.
Not yet. They all are getting
small.
shared.
They are still small, 7 and, you know, like 6 and 7. You know, they are very small.
Right.
So,
Do you think you have a superpower?
I think my mental strength, probably, and my optimism, like I said. So that will never let me down. That could be my superpower. I don't know.
What's your superpower?
you know, my superpower is my, you know, like sound mind and sound body. That, you know, like by God's grace, you know, like none of the small injuries have deprived me of doing what I want to do now. So I always, you know, have that mind that I can do it. So that's my mental power. I'm strong at it.
What's one habit which you inculcated in the recent times which has kind of changed or accelerated your trajectory of your health life?
I try to eat better because I love food. I'm maybe not a foodie, but I love good food. But now I'm a little bit conscious of what I eat. So that has really been helping. Apart from that, I don't think I've come up with any new habits except that I've become much more outgoing. I meet more people now. Before you were caught up in your family thing, you know, husband, children and all that. And you thought you were born to be a mother, born to be a wife and born to be an employee in the bank or whatever. That mental shift has happened. Now I do what I would like to do and I go and meet people. And fortunately, I'm feeling, I'm coming to see that I am a friendly person, which I didn't know for the greater part of my life. Until my 60s, I didn't know that I could be friendly. And people actually comment and say, we didn't know you could be so friendly. That shift has happened.
In your case, what is something new which you did which has kind of changed your trajectory?
Consistency, especially after joining S6, that like every day I should have this, start my day with this run and do this, so that like you can start many things and then stop it, so that doesn't take you anywhere.
Right.
And so that is the most important thing for any sports person as such. And consistency is the main thing. Like you said it about the food and diet and all that. Of course, I was a foodie, but then I also cut on my carbs, and then I added more protein into my diet, because like the friends tells, that helps you.
Nice.
And then that helps you keep younger, and then you can go a longer way, so that's what it is.
What is your biggest fear now?
Not to be dependent on anyone. Like I said, that's what I started with, that I don't want to be dependent. It's not in my hands, but that is my only fear. I don't have any other fears. I don't like the idea of being dependent. That idea. It's physically, it may happen, it may not happen, I don't know. But I don't want to be dependent.
How about you?
No, I am a very independent person, never depend on anybody for anything. And rather, I help people. So, like whatever way, even a small thing or a bigger thing, and then, I get into problem when you get into people with their...
But what's your fear now? What is your fear as of today, which, I don't know, should give you sleepless nights, but what's the most, the thing what you think about, which possibly is a fear for you?
As of now, I don't have, nothing has come to
Great,
me.
that's the positive mind of thinking.
That's a nice thing.
That's the positive thinking to
Yeah.
say that there's no fear,
Yeah.
right? Great. So, what did you learn as a parent about yourself, which you didn't know about earlier?
I don't know. I keep asking my children, have I brought up you all right? When they go through a problem, then I have self-doubts. Is it created by something that I did, bringing them up? And the answer is always no, you brought us up very well. So probably that satisfaction I'm getting now, not during the process of parenting or anything. And another thing is, I'm very proud of my children. There's so much to learn from them, like from both of them. Like my son is an activist. Like I can't believe that he doesn't concentrate on money. He does earn, that is different, but money is not his priority. His priority is doing something for the world or for anybody which will help in the long run. That is something I'm learning from my son. And my daughter is another kettle of fish, she's a very balanced person. She knows how much fun to have, how much work to do. So she's totally a cool, chill person, she's at the hilt of her life, enjoying herself. So I'm seeing that they are learning their lessons very early in life. My son, I don't think he has done an hour's work which he didn't want to do. He's always done what he wanted to do. If there was a job given to him that he didn't like, he said, I don't want that money, I don't want that job, thank you, I'm leaving. So that is his mental thing. And my daughter is, I have to balance my work and thing. I'm not going to work from 12 hours a day and deprive myself of my party. I have my friends, I'm going to go out. So, that clarity of thought I've learned from my children.
What I want to ask you, Raji, is there, what do you do when you feel stuck? How do you, what's your toolkit to come out of it?
For myself?
Yeah, you feel stuck in, it happens with everyone some part of the time, and you don't know what to do. So, what's your mantra? What do you do when you feel stuck?
When I get stuck,
Don't tell me you go out for a run.
No. I know when I get stuck, I discuss with my family.
Okay.
My children, my husband, we always have a open discussion. Any problem I get in, I always tell them, I reveal them that this is what has happened. So, and they are very supportive. They come out with suggestions and all that, yes.
Nope.
And the parenting you were talking about,
yeah.
yes. Like in their childhood, of course, I was just as you said it, like we always wanted to build up their career and, basic education part. I was a little strict with them, and then I used to sit with them in their studies and all that. But one thing I was always seen in them is, as they grew, older, and they were more open. They come out with their problems and they always discussed with, like they never hid it, and they always discussed. And then and whatever advice we could give it, and they took it very positively, whatever it is, and whatever profession they wanted to choose. Although as a parent you may be thinking that this could be better, that could be better, but we never stop them. Whatever you want to do it, you do it. And both children, both my son and daughter, they are running a branding and design company as business partners. So they gel well, and then and the good thing about my children is the human values. That is most important for them in life. And then and I appreciate that. For them, that's the most important thing. I know they, beyond this, they will not do anything. I know that, there is a borderline, they cannot go beyond that. And they are always, they both have helping nature. And then, to their own staff or to the neighbors, or even and when they are kind even to the house helps, I feel very happy.
Yeah, no, I think it's all an outcome, like both of you guys said, it's all an outcome of parenting. And I'm a very recent parent, and I've realized the best parenting is not to tell the kid what to do and let them do what they want, and let them drive their own curiosity, and you kind of anchor that.
Nurture that.
And of course this is not meant to be a parenting conversation, but I think there is no one right way of saying what parenting is, because I think the best thing what a parent can do to their child is to allow them to be more curious, and give them that sense of compassion, make them good human beings, and they will figure out what is good or bad for them. But it's been lovely having this conversation with both of you. I'm sure people listening and watching so far would have many cues to take home, not just on the physical side of it, which both of you have aptly made it clear, and will put some links out there for people to follow Raji's run and the adventures what you are following, Chandni. And I will urge you to, I don't know if you're already doing it, maybe document some of your experiences, which would, I'm sure, be very useful and valuable for people, just to kind of, both of you, to find a way to document your experiences, because this podcast perhaps could reach only these many people, but internet, the good part of internet it crosses beyond boundaries and barriers, so it can get to more people, and perhaps get inspired by the work what both of you are doing. But before I wrap up, there's two things which I want to ask. One is, what's next in the bucket list, something which you could put it out public?
Right now I want to travel solo, which I haven't done. So that could be a challenge, especially at my age and all that. And I want to try it out. And there are some countries that I haven't gone to where I want to go. And probably one trek a year for the next 3-4 years, as long as I can keep trekking. That I want to do.
People listening and watching, if you have any recommendations for Chandni to explore treks and solo trips, if she can do it, please leave it on the comments. I'll make sure it gets to Chandni so that she can add it onto her diary. Raji, what's on the bucket list? I'm assuming it's a 10K, it's a half marathon.
No, I'll continue with 10K even 2024 also.
Okay.
So, my focus is on TCS again.
Nice.
Because last 2 years I won the top my list.
Brilliant.
In my age category.
Nice.
So I wanted to have a hat trick. So that is in my mind.
So you must be already in a 60 plus age category, or is there a 70 age category?
70 plus category is there in TCS.
Oh, okay.
So then twice I got it. 22 and 23 I won it. So 24 also I wanted to have that.
Let's hope you win for the next 10 or 15 years, not just 24. The streak continues.
For all the years before she gets into the next category.
Age category, right?
So 2024 I wanted to continue with 10K, and then I wanted to participate in almost everything. But then recently I have done this Mangalore Marathon, Kaveri Trail, and then Thumbs also. this last
The
Sunday.
Ajmerathon. Okay.
Yeah, like December 3rd also I went it.
Yeah.
And luckily I got one first runner-up also. So
Yeah,
I
that's
was
a
very
clean
happy.
slate for you. For your age category, I'm
Yeah,
sure you are giving
No,
competition.
but
to
I
people
ran
you-
with the 60 plus category,
Wow.
61 plus.
Okay, you've been kind to them.
No, but my timing is not that great, but then I'm happy.
It doesn't
with
matter. I think
it doesn't matter to
what
me.
matters is showing up to the start line and crossing the finish line,
Yeah,
which
that's
you are doing it with
and
a smile on your face. So that matters.
I celebrate it. I
Yes.
celebrate my run.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But-
the thing. And so I wanted to participate in maximum runs.
Perfect.
And then, as I said it, I wanted to run till my last breath.
I'm sure that
I wanted to
we are
do
not
that.
going to count that breath, and you're going to continue. So the final segment is something which this is an economist in the US by name of Tyler Cowen, and he had this interesting segment where he asked his guests to rate a piece between underrated and overrated. So there's one word which I'll give you, and you'll have to say in your perspective whether it's overrated or underrated. So I'll start with you, Chandni. Having kids,
It's overrated,
yoga,
underrated.
strength training,
Strength training, it is underrated. You need strength training.
solo trekking,
Underrated again.
Amitabh Bachchan.
Maybe for me overrated, but he's good.
That matters. That matters. What you say, that matters.
He's good.
Great. So, Raji, your turn. TCS 10K.
TCS 10K, top of my list.
So, it's underrated?
Yes.
Okay. Living in a joint family.
Underrated, and I should love it.
Getting up at 5 a.m.
Underrated.
Put and Kadla.
Oh, underrated.
I asked this because you're a Malayali. This should be much hard for you. I don't know which side of the cult you are. Mammootty.
Mammootty, underrated.
Underrated. All right. So that's a good segment. Thank you both of you. Pleasure having and this conversation. I really hope people listening and watching find inspiration in this conversation. Post this conversation, I'll probably leave. Like I said, I urge you to document your experiences, your runs, your training, your trekking stuff, what you're doing, so that that encourages more and more people to perhaps explore that other side of their life. That was the intent of this conversation. Thoroughly enjoyed, and I really look forward to doing a follow-up maybe sometime in the future. Once you do a couple of solo treks, you continue your streaks of 10Ks and maybe get to the master. I don't know if you're eyeing that, but maybe do a masters national meet, get some podium finishes there, and we sit back and have another follow-up conversation.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having us. It was very pleasant talking to you actually, because no constraints, no feeling of tension, nothing. It was really pleasant.
No, my
Thank
pleasure
you.
as well.
And thank you, Dilip. The way you conducted, the way you it was just a very informal and very friendly, talk. I wouldn't say it is an interview also, because it is never that, we never felt it.
Yeah, like I said, the intent was my curiosity to know more about you and learn from both of you. I definitely had a lot of notes to take, and my pleasure. So thank you for finding the time to come and sit with me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
That was Raji and Chandini. I hope if you have listened so far, you have watched, there were some notes which you took. If you find this useful to people in your family, in your friend circle, maybe share this video link or audio link to people in your network, hoping that it would inspire them regardless of their age or any part of the world they could be. The idea is for people to stay healthy both mentally and physically, and that encourages me to continue having this conversation. So yes, do share it with your friends and family. If you have any feedback for me, reach out to me on email, LinkedIn, Twitter, or just leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. Like I said, send all good wishes to both Chandni and Raji. Send some recommendations for Chandni, which she can go out and do some solo treks. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next episode with another few interesting guests. Goodbye.